So I choke on sun, and the days blur into one. Backs of my eyes on the things I've never done. Sheets are swaying from her own clothesline like a row of.
You get off at the train station. It is modern and beautiful. You hear several grüezis from passerbyers that welcome you to the city of cherries. Then you walk straight to the lake because honestly, it's what first catches your eye. Even though it is a cold and gloomy day, it is nice to walk along the promenade. There's a lot of people, kids fishing, couples feeding bread to the dogs, and even people exercising. Once you reach the main square, there are many restaurants and bakeries. Why not try the famous Zug kiosk cake? After you enjoy your cake and coffee, you go to the Old Town, and it all gets more interesting when we learn about the history of Zug.
Recent archaeological finds indicate that Zug began to flourish as a settlement in the New Stone Age and Bronze Age, and between the 10th and 12th centuries, settlements grew around the castle in the area known today as Dorf. This is the start of the settlement. Here is the clock tower, a famous landmark in the old town of Zug. The tower is 52 meters high and rises above the other towers of the town. The lower part was built simply as a passageway through the town wall. It is built by Hans Felder. The clock bottom has 4 hands, and hands with sun, moon, arrow, and S are indicating the moons, phases of the moons, the days of the moons, the days of the week, and the leap years. Here is the map of Zug before 5026, and the highlight part on the right bottoms indicate the old town, and the clock tower is in the top left corner. Okay, let's walk in the old town of the cities. We can already feel the old Gothic style and Catholic atmosphere from the building. Now let's learn some history about this city. In 1526, the Council of Zug decided to remain with the Catholic faith, and the traditional friendly relationship with Zurich were then discontinued while Zug approached the Canton Lucerne. Zug is also a religious city as there are 2 old churches in this small city. These buildings in the old towns are specially designed for the flooding period. As the bottom part can be sink into the water, people can still enter the house from the first floor. This reminds us an old evidence in 15th century. On March the 4th in 1435, the lower road of the house in the old town sank into the lake. 20 people were killed. The sink area includes 2 main streets. This led to the change of the city district. And here comes the fishing market. As being a city of water, this market is very meaningful for the citizens at that time. People can exchange their harvest with money or other livestock. Now we are walking down to the lakeside. With the strict constructions, we can see that the city is actually building up from the water. With the convenient location, the first steamship was launched on the Lake of Zug in 1852, and this attached the first luxury of visitors. The Zug people react positively to the railway right from the start, and in 1863, the Northeast Railway started a regular service from Zurich, Elverton, and Albis, Zug, and Lucerne.
Now that we know about the history of Zug, let's see what the city has to offer nowadays and move to this.
Zug, as the richest canton in Switzerland with only 1.9% of unemployment rate. The GDP per capita was more than 110,000 US in 2011. There are 6 important industries in Zug are focused on. They are metal goods, machinery, electronic, child education, business, and computer science. Actually, the main reason for companies set up there is because the low tax rate. Zug has one of the lowest tax rates in Switzerland, which is about half of the Swiss average. From diagram, it shows that the individual taxes are about 23% in Zug, also much lower to compare with other countries. Therefore, Zug became a really good place to live and work. People who live in Zug mentions that looking at the tax rates, it will be very hard to ever move away. Together with stable political, financial, and social, which makes Zug has a very high quality of living standard. Zug has a very long tradition of education. The education system is based on equal abilities. Their primary and secondary school also provide optional secondary education and vocational training. Most students go into vocational education after grade 9 to join the professional world. What's more, there are 4 international universities and clubs. That's why there are so many foreign employees live there. Actually, Zug is one of the university cantons in Switzerland. There are 6 technical colleges and 1 university of teacher training. The circle shows the advantages of Zug as a business location. The heart of the circle is the key strength of Zug, business friendly. The middle circle highlights further assets such as low taxes, political stability, internationality, and an excellent educational system. The surrounding outer circle focuses on the optimal quality of life environment. So, the value of Zug brings people a good salary, education, convenience transportation, and rich culture.
Although the expansion of Zug brought some disadvantages to the city, Zug still benefits its inhabitants in many aspects. Now I'm going to briefly tell you some significant values brought by the city to the people who live there. First, I will start with the network of transportation. The central location of Zug is a great advantage in terms of accessibility. Important cities like Lucerne and Zurich are only 30 minutes away by bus or by train. Zug has developed a cross-linked transport system where bus and train work unison to provide the best possible connections between home, work, and leisure. As you can see from the picture, it shows the Zug railway station run by the Swiss Federal Railways. This clip shows the bus transport run by the Sugarland Transport of the city. It is really convenient for people in Zug to travel from one place to another. In terms of water transport, the Lake Zug and the Lake Agari navigation companies provide lake navigation and boat trip for normal transport lengths and also special events held on boats, offering a unique experience for the inhabitants to enjoy while transporting along Lake Zug. Within the city, there are paths for cycling or skating along the side of the lake. Moreover, it is a tradition for the people to celebrate the carnival in the second week of February. In terms of art and culture, there are several museums where inhabitants can visit. The Zug Art Gallery is one of them, which is the picture shown on the slide. Unlike normal galleries, the Art Gallery of Zug not only uses the rooms for exhibitions, but also provides spaces and platforms for people to carry out various art-related activities. The St. Oswald's Church is one of the great historical and artistic value. The interior design is marked by famous painter and architect, which becomes the main attraction of the town. There is a path of Swiss heritage sites that includes 2 libraries. the library of former Capuchin monastery, and the library of parish church of St. Michael, and 3 museums related to castle, ancient history, and art.
We have taken you on a culturally rich journey through Zug, but now let's mention other touristic activities and attractions. Zug has a lot to offer for the sporty tourist in the Mount of Zuckerberg. There, some activities such as cross-country skiing, paragliding, cycling, and trekking are offered. For the adventurous, we have the Caves of Holgrotten. For the hungry of knowledge, we have the Ether Sonnet Distillery, where they can learn about the process of making kirsch and other fruit liquors.
We had the chance to meet Lisa Müller, who gave us a very interesting insight and perspective about living in Zug. She enjoys working and living close to Zug, as one has a wide range of cultural attractions, as mentioned before. She told us that over the years, Zug has changed a lot. In what way did it change so much? As over the years, a lot of international companies, such as German companies and a lot of Russian companies, settled down in Zug. The living costs and especially the rent increased, meaning the original inhabitants moved in the outskirts, like Lisa Müller herself. The Zug values, such as tradition and cultures, are getting more and more lost. There is no dynamic in the city. Everything is so steif, she said, so strict. And if you want to do something out of the box, for example, to create or to organize concert, etc., it is almost impossible to make it happen, as the inhabitants claim there would be too much noise, etc., etc. When we asked her what she would wish for Zug, she replied, "We just need more dynamic, more life. It would be beneficial to have an open area, so we can organize concert, performances, and all sorts."
Now let's move on to the city structure of Zug. Let's take a bird's eye look at the city of Zug. Here you can see on the map the Neustadt, Altstadt on the outskirts of Zug. Let's zoom in to a closer look at the map of the Neustadt. The short walk from the Bahnhof to Lake Zug is a direct path and creates an enchanting walk with a direct view. The placement of the Bahnhof location on the grid allows for visitors to be immediately awed by the beauty of Zug. In the Neustadt, the city streets are wider, the blocks are wider, and the overall more spacious than the Altstadt.
One of the most important squares is located in front of the train station. Open spaces are very important in cities. It gives people the chance to breathe, to look around, and especially to inhale the atmosphere. The open square at the train station gives a direct view to the lake. It creates a wow factor. The Postplatz is another open square, which can also be found in the new town. It enables the passenger to get an overall perspective of the view of the lake and also for a ballet. It is very nice. It's a social gathering space.
Now let's take a look at the map of the Altstadt. The Altstadt developed around Zug's first industry of fishing. The location along the lake offers access to valuable resources. The urban square is apparent in the Altstadt and has been constructed into the city's fabric. These urban spaces are open spaces which give awe to passerbyers. Visitors are enchanted by the cobblestone streets with old Gothic construction and are suddenly awakened to bright open spaces. Such open spaces can be seen in front of churches where historically people gathered. The Altstadt of Zug is a fine-grained urban fabric. Fine-grained urban fabrics consist of several small blocks in close proximity. Within each block are several buildings, most with narrow frontages, frequent storefronts, and minimal setbacks from the street. Streets and opportunities to turn corners are frequent, and as a result, so are storefronts. And this offers many opportunities for discovery and exploration. There are virtually no vacant lots or surface parking. Rather, it evolves over time in a piecemeal way, responding to what came before and adapting to what came afterwards.
Let me take you to the Landesgemeindeplatz, where Lorena took us before for a piece of Kirschcake and some coffee. This square is created to relax, breathe in fresh air, to look at the lake, and just to enjoy.
Now let's review the path that we just took. We took you down Alpenstrasse from the Bahnhof and down through the Grabenstrasse, up again through Postplatz and then through the Bahnhofstrasse and home again.
Drastic changes in the city of Zug can be seen, especially in the expansion of living spaces and the population. This black and white picture has been taken in 1910. Comparing it with the colored picture, which shows Zug today, you can clearly see that Zug expanded enormously, especially in the outskirts. Here you can see the expansion graphically. Let me introduce to you another map. The brown areas indicate potential living spaces in the new town and in the old town. However, as you can see, the industrial area of Zug, it has more spaces for new buildings. These buildings, for example here, you can see they have been built 5 years ago. They're tall buildings in order to use less space and to keep the natural space and the
Lewis Mumford, America's most prominent urbanist, wrote, "Architecture and city planning are the visible translation of the total meaning of a culture. Each generation writes its biography in the buildings it creates. Each culture characterizes in the city the unifying idea that runs through its activities. Zug is a city which is small and quaint. Its central location between Zurich and Lucerne acts as a halfway point of traveling through Switzerland. Its small city character is perfect for a day trip and offers many attractions and beautiful sights." Thank you for joining us on this journey through Zug. We hope you enjoyed it and you were able to better know and understand the beauty of Zug and what it has to offer from both a tourist perspective and through the history. Hopefully you can go one day and visit yourself and see the magnificent lake and the beauty that surrounds the city.